Hello and welcome back to Up the Villa. This is our match reaction for Aston Villa 3, Wolves 1. You've seen the fan cam. It was very wet and I've got more to say. So, joined by Justin for our reaction. How are you, mate?
Very good, mate. Very good. Even better for that performance. Eventually.
Same. Me too. Buzzing about the win. Winning becomes a habit, and that habit is something that I want us to have for a very, very long time. And I'm absolutely loving it. And one thing that I am loving at the minute is if I just get this on the screen for you, is that if you have a look at the Premier League table, after 5 games, we are sitting nice and cozy at the top. So really pleased with that. I'll let you go first then. Thoughts on how you feeling first, and then how do you feel like the game went?
Couldn't even get Wolves in on that little screenshot, could you? Because they're that. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Let hold on. If there are any Wolves fans watching, we've just scrolled down to the bottom,
yeah,
19th place, 1 point,
quite,
and
quite a gap, isn't there?
but funny thing is though, Justin, I'm sure there's a song about that, about a gap,
Yeah,
and
can't think off the top of my head.
no, mate, what is it? Mind the gap, something
Mind the
like
gap, that was it.
that.
Sorry. Sorry. Very bitter, aren't we? Very bitter. But what did you ask? Sorry, I've totally forgot what you asked now.
How are you feeling that we won, and how did you see the game?
I'm relieved we've won. Getting a little bit fed up going behind in games.
Mhm.
We definitely, I'm just covering the negatives to start with. Definitely need to address the defence. I think, conceding too many goals. Uh, Over the next 18 months, 2 years, the trajectory we're on is challenging for the title, but unfortunately, we can't challenge for the title if we keep conceding goals like we do and conceding chances. Unai alluded to it in his after the match press conference, saying basically the same thing. We've got to cut out these allowing the opposition so many chances. 2-0 down against Everton, had to come back. 1-0 down today, had to come back. And we're a good side, so we are coming back in these games, but we can't keep giving sides head starts. We've got to start cutting those problems out. And the first half, as Unai has said, and I think everybody that watched that game today will agree, was probably the worst 45 minutes for a very long time, if not the whole time he's been there. But we're a good team. And one thing, 2 words today that I think sum it up: patience and confidence and quality. That's 3 words in it, not 2. So patience and quality, those are the 2 things today. We don't panic and we've got the quality. And off the bench today, for me, Ross Barkley was the man.
Yeah. So before we get on to the second half, we'll just talk about the first half to
Yeah.
start with. And I was very unhappy after that first half. If anyone's listened to Unai Emery's press conference after the game, he's literally said that that's the worst 45 minutes he's seen from Aston Villa since he's been here. So that tells you that there's no like negative overreaction here. The manager is literally saying that that is the worst.
Mm.
And I don't. It sounds weird, but like what went wrong was pretty much out of possession for me quite a lot. It was as if like we weren't getting out to them quick enough. We weren't pressing them. We were just second to absolutely everything. And then we were sort of like really loose on the ball. And I think first off, one of the problems I felt like, and we've seen this a couple of times from like, and this is no sort of like bashing of McGinn, but McGinn on that right, doing that Bailey role, it doesn't work out there. I think there's certain positions that McGinn can play in, sort of like off Watkins on the left, bit of the shadow striker dropping into a box midfield. But on that right, we've got big problems because there's no width there. There's no stretching the team. And, you know, even when you watch Bailey play, the first thing you'll see from Bailey is he's literally like stood on the touchline. He's offering that much width, and McGinn's wanting to come inside and keep coming in. And there's a real unbalance there. But I just felt like Tielemans looked a bit loose. Onana was loose. McGinn was loose. Everything was bouncing off Rodgers. Ramsey was okay. There was a couple of little bright sparks. He was twisting and turning, but it always felt like we were just turning into a Wolves player because they were playing so narrow in the middle with the three that Wolves have got in there. So it was just like we were just really off it all over, like in possession, out of possession, and it just led to Wolves being able to do what they want, that what they needed to do, needed to scrap, needed to fight, needed to make it messy. And then the same old threat that we're seeing is that sort of just on transition where we look a bit vulnerable. But, you know, I mean, they were pretty good Wolves first half, and they did have a real good width about them. And I just felt like we just really struggled to get to grips with what they were trying to do. And then...
sorry. I was going to just, say that. You have to give Wolves credit in that first half, and you have to give Gary O'Neill credit because they did a job on us, and they've done this a few times at Villa. They were really good. They rode the initial storm. It wasn't a massive storm from us, but they rode out the first 10 or 15 minutes. We didn't really cause them any problems. And then the confidence started to grow and grow and go, and their ball retention was good. You know, that when we were sort of trying to attack them, they were good. They defended in a really good shape. They were hard to break down, and their better players played well in the first half, and it didn't really allow us time to get going. And our better players were sort of, it felt like they were all looking at each other to do something, and that hasn't happened for a long time with United. That used to be the old Villa where you'd hope one or two of the big players would do something and get us out of a hole. And they sort of was all looking at each other going, well, you do something, and that's not Villa. You know, we're a team that generally plays well as a unit. And I think when it doesn't function like it did in the first half, it's really hard to watch, isn't it? Because we're so used to seeing us so good. When it doesn't work, we sort of all start scratching our heads thinking, what's happened here today? But I will give a bit of obviously credit to Wolves. And I think I do agree with your sort of analysis of McGinn. And it looks like, I think it's been reported tonight that it looks like a hamstring injury. So he could be missing for a few weeks, which would allow, you would believe, Bailey to try and regain that position out on the right. So as much as I don't want to lose any players to injury, it's going to give us a chance now to revert back to that attacking outlet on the right-hand side, which suits us better, I think.
Yeah, and I think especially with McGinn, like, that's not his position. So he's out there to do a job, and he's doing a job, and you know that's no disrespect to him, but that's what he's literally doing because he don't play there. He's a central midfielder that can play on the left, or he can play centrally in our system, or sort of on that left in our system, or off the striker. So the last place he probably wants to be is out wide on the right.
It's weird though because he's going to be missing. Sounds like nothing confirmed yet that he's going to be missing a few weeks, but conceivably, Bailey could come in and regain that position. And with the form of Rodgers and not so much today, but with the form of Rodgers and Ramsey looking like they're getting back to, Ramsey getting back to his best and Rodgers being really good, you could see us really, McGinn struggling to get in this side with how good the two sort of double pivots have been. So that's just the strength of the squad, isn't it? So, players will come in and out.
So first off, we can see momentum bar. Villa are in the green, Wolves are in the blue, so that they were having some good sort of momentum spurts through their big spell here where they got their goal from. And then if you go down here now and we have a look at sort of like the first half stats, 58% possession for Wolves, an XG of 0.50. They had 10 shots and we had 2. They made 283 passes and we made 203. They got 7 tackles, we got 9. And yeah, it just wasn't they had 10 shots, 4 on target, 1 off target. They had 5 block shots, 8 from inside the box. So it was just not a great half from Villa. And it's something that I really want us to really address, because the last two games, sorry, we've had a bit of a mare in the first halves, and like anything, if you keep playing like that and giving teams up like chances, that it is going to become a point where one team is going to score more than two, probably score three, and then we're really chasing the game. So I think even though we've won, it's good to start on a bit of a something that needs to improve, and just be totally honest, because there's no point coming on here being like, we've won it, absolutely amazing, and just forget about the first half, because that's just not, that's not how I want to sort of do it. So I've got to be honest. So some people might say, oh, you're being really negative, but if the manager's saying first half we were shocking, then I'm sure a fan channel can say the same.
We're assessing the whole game, and that today was as close as you're probably ever going to get to a game of two halves. It just was, and in the first, moving on to the sort of second half, the first 10 minutes, he did make those two early half-time changes. One obviously was through an injury, and I presume just Luca Dean putting fresh legs on. Matson's waited very patiently to have a chance, and I think it's sensible. We've got a like-for-like swap there. Luca Dean wasn't having a lot of joy in the first half. You've got a player that's fresh as a daisy, quality player, so stick him on. I didn't mind it so much. A little bit surprised, he didn't probably throw Duran on at half time because of the impact he has. But I think that he gave it 10 minutes, and then the two big substitutions, and like I've alluded to, for me, I thought Barkley was outstanding.
Yeah.
Absolutely outstanding for me.
Absolutely unreal. So let's go then. If you want positivity, let's go second half then. Right. Second half, momentum bar. Well, I mean, momentum bar here. Were Wolves even playing? Were they even on the pitch at this second half point? So absolutely, completely all Villa. And while it was still only 1-0, in my mind, and I was saying to the people around me, we score, we win this game, because we know that Wolves are used to losing now. They get further and further backwards, and everything was just pointing towards a Villa win for me. Gary O'Neill started, he went to a back five, then he started bringing defenders on. So what that means is that the team, which were probably in a good shape in a four, start retreating 5 or 10 yards. They're at 5 at the back. They've then got midfielders. So everything gets pushed further backwards. We get more space. We get more dominance. And, if we compare the stats now, so if we have a look at the stats for the second half, which are just exceptional. So remember, first half, we were at 42% possession. They'd had 10 shots, etc. Second half, we'd got 70% possession. We'd got 5 big chances. We had 7 shots. Wolves had no shots on goal. They only had 1 corner. We made 240 passes. They had 105 passes, which were sort of, what were they in first half? First half was about 280 in the first half. Second half, they were only at 105. And then we were having to make more tackles. We got 7 free kicks. We'd got 7 shots. We got 4 on target. We'd scored 3 goals. And like you say, Justin, I said it in the week that Emery's the squad master. It's like a game of chess. Squad master, he starts moving all his pieces. Ross Barkley comes on. We get more dominance. We get the first goal, which is a really good finish from Watkins. Second one, Konsa, back post goal, fantastic. And then John Duran scores. But again, you've touched on it, and you could probably talk about him more now. Ross Barkley, he's coming on now the last 3 games against Leicester, and he changed the game in midfield for us. Everton, he was fantastic. And today, again, how good is he?
He's just, I think, looking at him now, he's born to play in that role, the number 6. He just suits him brilliantly. And Onana, he wasn't doing a lot wrong, but he just wasn't impacting the game as we've seen in the first few games of the season. So to have a player like Barkley come on and just say, right, use all your experience, all your qualities, sit in the middle of the park and make us tick. Be that metronome in the middle of the park. And not only did he make us tick and got us forward, his ball retention was good, his ball usage was good, his intelligence was brilliant, his passing was sharp. And it sparked the players around him. You know, Tielemans came to life. Morgan Rogers, who had a really quiet first 60 minutes, suddenly came to life, started taking people on because he had that confidence that he knew he could pop it into Barkley, go again, and Barkley would find him with a little ball round the corner or a little ball through the lines. And for me, he just made us tick, and he got us that 10 yards up further up the pitch. You know, Onana tends to sit a bit deep because he's a bit more defensively minded, and he sits back, and I think, you know, he just likes to use the ball and knock it 5, 10 yards to people. Whereas Barkley's, because of where he's been in his career, playing further forward and being more of an attacking midfielder, he's more confident and comfortable playing that little bit further forward. So that sort of the edge of the centre circle in their half, that's where he does his best work. And he was picking the ball up, he was taking a touch, he was just going past people. And he just made us tick, and I thought he was absolutely outstanding. I really did. I think I'm not sure starting just yet because I still think the two, Onana and Tielemans, are our best two in there currently. But to have a player like him when things aren't going right that can come on and affect the game the way he did, it's worth his weight in gold, isn't it? I think he could start to become one of my favourite players at Villa, to be honest.
Yeah, I've just spotted something interesting that I'm going to show you. We'll go into a lot more detail tomorrow on the debrief, but this was in the first half. So you can see this is the average positions of Villa in the first half. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to press substitutions and watch what happens to the team. Notice when I was talking about John McGinn, you know, he's playing that sort of Leon Bailey role, got to be wide. Now let's press substitutions and watch what happens to our team. We revert back to the opposite side. So we were heavy on the left, and then we've gone heavy on the right. And this is all down to me, to the introduction of Bailey. And I thought Bailey was okay. I don't think Bailey was outstanding, but you could just tell that his presence out there was just different level. And let's just have a little look at a quick little look at Barkley, because you know, I imagine his stats are going to be good. Oh, of course. 100% passing accuracy from Barkley. 3 out of 6 ground duels won. Interceptions 1. Tackles 3. What a player, man.
It's the passing. 100% pass accuracy. That, you know, just didn't give the ball. There was one moment in the second half when he turned on the inside and he went past a couple of players and it looked like he was going to lose the ball, but he slid in, got the ball back, and, you know, recycled it to Tielemans, who started another run off again. So yeah, affected the game. That's what you want. You know, we've said it time and time again. I think we said it at the start of last season when that 5 sub rule came in. It is a game changer, mainly for teams that have got quality off the bench, and we possess that now. And hopefully it'll allow us to really, you know, not lose our legs later in the season like we did last year. But yeah, massively critical. But one thing I will say, just summing up the whole game, is we've got to, and they will, and Emery will 100% address this. We've played now the 2 poorest sides on paper in the league at home, Wolves and Everton, and we've given them a head start and we've beaten both. We've got to really get our act together now going forward. A tricky game next week away at Ipswich that, you know, they're going to be up for it. But after that, we're going to have some really tough fixtures coming up. So we're in a really, really good position now. It was a really good win again today up against it. But I'd just like us to be a little bit more controlled, and I'm sure the manager will as well. So lots to still work on, but what a fantastic start to the season. You couldn't have asked for any more.
I couldn't have asked for anything any worse. And again, there's been a little check ticker. You know, if we're going on what the media are saying, can Villa do a Champions League game followed up by a Premier League game? Tick. That one's ticked off then. So we've got that one done and dusted. That's a win, and a win before a Champions League game anyway. And yeah, I'm with you. I think, you know, long-standing viewers will know that I always say we are by far from the finished article. And these are all little aspects that we've got to get slightly better at, and just improve, and just sometimes just little concentration levels, like Carlos's pass doesn't need to go straight into midfield first time pass. It could have gone out wide, but he chose to put it in the middle, mistimed it, and then we're under massive pressure. And to be fair, that was a brilliant finish from Cunha.
Took it well, didn't it?
That finish was class.
If he
So
doesn't
yeah,
hit it
so
early, he doesn't score. So yeah, it's a good
no,
finish.
exactly. So it's a really good finish, and finally we'll end on Mister 4 in 5, John Duran. He's got four, hasn't he? So he's got West Ham, he's got Leicester, he's got
Yeah,
Everton. Yeah, so he's got 4 in
Everton.
5.
Yeah, yeah.
So
It's
I
just
mean,
it's
it was a
it's
tap in,
unbelievable.
but the numbers are just like
Interesting to see when he's on the pitch. Him and Watkins playing together. That's something that he spoke a lot about recently, about trying to get him somehow getting into the team together. And I think it will. The
well,
early
yeah.
stages of playing together will be off the bench. So games like that where you throw one of them on to supplement the attack when you need that extra firepower. But can we get them both into a starting lineup? I don't know. It's tough, isn't it?
The
Because of
thing
the way
is,
we play, it's tough to play them both, isn't it?
what I like about him is that he's totally different to Watkins. So
Mm,
Duran can, for me, can go a little bit deeper, win the ball, hold it up, and play a nice little pass, and then he's
yeah,
gone. And what that allowed us to do in this game, he came deeper, and then it allowed us to get Morgan involved, and then we were on these little breaks, and you can kind of see from his average positions that you see where he's around the halfway line, and he's getting these little touches in and around here, and he's linking up a little bit, and then that allows Watkins to stay as a striker. And I
yeah.
just felt like it was quite good to watch today.
Yeah, I think, yeah, that's an interesting. That could be interesting to see how he would develop playing with Ollie because not having to play as the striker, not having to play off the last man and be the target man and hold the ball up and getting around the back, has he got that ability to drop off and play in that role
Mhm.
behind the striker? A bit more freedom, a bit more, a bit more of a like loose cannon, if you like, just sort of wandering, saying, okay, go and affect the game. Wherever the ball is, go and affect it. We know he likes to tackle. We know he likes to get in people's faces. So he's ideal. At the moment, he's absolutely perfect to come off the bench. And I know that's not where he sees his long term future. He's got this big appetite, hasn't he, to be the main man, and he's pushing for it massively now. But at the moment, I don't think there's a better striker. I don't think there's about an under 21 striker in the world, and
No,
that's big to say that. There just
well,
isn't. And
you
I
could
don't think there's a better
say
substitute either in the world at the moment than him.
exactly. I mean, we have got probably the best two striker combinations in the league as
We
out
have,
and out strikers.
100%.
We're not talking about
Depth wise.
like
Yeah, yeah.
a Salah and a Gakpo. We're talking about
Mm.
two strikers who play as
Yeah.
a striker. It's fantastic, and it's all sort of like even probably a bit of learning for Emery today because maybe he will freshen it up after a Champions League game next time. Maybe he'll think, do you know what? We might need to just bring in someone and just rotate it a little bit because he didn't rotate it today apart from Carlos, did he? So, it might sort of get him thinking again. So, but one
I
final,
was just looking
gone,
who we play after the next Champions League game, and
Man
it's
United
a different
at
kettle of
home.
fish. Yeah, it's a different kettle of fish, isn't it? So I think that you would look to maybe freshen the side up against them. I think at home.
Yeah. Finally, I thought the ref was absolutely shocking. He was terrible. Ain't Nori, he should have been sent off at the start of the second half because he pulled Bailey down or whatever he did to Bailey, and that's a yellow card. And I just felt like he let so much go. He was carding Emery, carding his coaching, carding the Wolves bench. It it probably
It's
made for
frustrating.
yeah, but it probably made for a better game for Wolves because it enabled them
Yeah.
to sort of like keep getting set, keep taking breaks, all that business. And it really just doesn't make for a good game. And there was one in the second half where we got fouled and he played on, and then we did the same foul and he gave a foul for Wolves. And I was just like,
I
you've lost me
was
now,
I
mate.
was literally just going to say that, and I could tell you who it was. Ollie Watkins. The
Yeah,
ball.
yes, that's
Ollie
it.
Watkins was sort of pulled back, like
Yeah,
one of them, nothing challenges where a player sort of holds him but doesn't, and then pulls him, and then Watkins makes the most of it, goes down, and then the ref doesn't give it. The ball goes to the Wolves player, and the Villa player does exactly the same to him. He goes down. The ref blows straight away. You can see Watkins going, "What? You having a laugh here?" So it is frustrating, but refs, inconsistencies is what that's what refs are, aren't they?
Yeah. So a big Villa win, massive Villa win, but plenty to work on, plenty to get better at. So Villa fans, make sure you're smashing the like, subscribe to the channel, and comment your thoughts on the performance up the Villa. Cheers, Justin.
Mind the gap.